The people of Nkara were known for two things: their lush green hills and the sound of drums that echoed through the night. No one remembered when the drumming began, only that it never stopped. Even when the rains fell hard and the river swelled, the drums would thump softly under the earth, like a heartbeat from something sleeping below. Children grew up hearing it. Travelers whispered about it. Some said the drums were played by spirits guarding buried gold. Others believed they were the cries of those who had wronged the ancestors. But for Io, a curious young hunter, the sound was simply noise. He was 20, proud and reckless. He laughed at the elders' stories and said the drums were just the sound of shifting stones under the hill. "Old people and their tailies," he would say, sharpening his spear by the fire. "You hear thunder and call it a spirit." His grandmother, Nene, would look at him through the smoke. Her face was lined like folded cloth, her eyes still sharp. "You talk too loud for a man who does not know what walks when the moon sleeps," she would say. But Io never listened. One evening, when the air was thick with the smell of wet leaves, Io sat outside his hut staring at the hills. The drums were faint but steady, thump, thump, thump. They sounded closer than usual, almost beneath his feet. He stood up, spear in hand, and grinned. "I'll find the drummer tonight," he told himself. He waited for the moon to rise. The village dogs whined and hid under the huts. Even the crickets were silent. But Io did not care. He wrapped a small charm around his wrist, a gift from Nene long ago, and began to walk toward the hill. The path was narrow, lined with tall grass that brushed against his legs. The wind carried whispers, not words, just sounds like someone humming far away. He ignored them and pressed on. When he reached the foot of the hill, the air changed. It was colder, heavier. The drums grew louder now, deep and slow, like a pulse beneath the soil. He knelt and placed his ear to the ground. The sound was right below him. Io smiled. "So it's true." He dug. The ground was soft, damp from the day's rain. His hands worked fast, scooping handfuls of dark earth until his nails filled with mud. The drums grew louder, faster. His chest pounded with excitement. He didn't see the thin mist rising around him or the faint glow seeping from the soil. Then his fingers touched something hard. He brushed the dirt away and found wood smooth, dark, and old. A drum. It was small, half-buried, with carvings that looked like faces twisted in pain. The leather stretched across the top pulsed faintly, like breathing skin. Io reached for it. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, the ground shook. The air split open with a sound like thunder, and a voice, deep, ancient, and angry, rolled through the valley. "Who beats the drum of the dead?" Io stumbled back, heart racing. The drum before him glowed red for a second, then went still. The hill fell silent. No wind, no sound, just his own breathing. He turned and ran back toward the village, mud clinging to his legs, his charm slipping loose from his wrist. Behind him, faintly, the drumming began again, but now it was not beneath the ground. It was following him. When he reached home, the fires were out. The entire village was quiet, too quiet. He rushed to Nene's hut and burst inside. "Nene," he gasped, "the drum, I found it." The old woman looked up slowly from her mat. Her eyes were distant, wet with fear. "What did you do?" she whispered. "I just touched it. It was under the hill. I didn't." Before he could finish, the drum started again. Loud this time. Thump, thump, thump. The walls trembled. Clay pots rolled off shelves. Outside, the dogs howled. Nene grabbed Io's hand. "Listen to me, child. You've woken it. The hill was sealed by our ancestors. You were not meant to touch the drum." "What is it?" She looked toward the door as the drumming grew faster. "It's not a drum," she said quietly. "It's a heart." The roof creaked. Dust fell from above. The ground began to pulse beneath them, keeping rhythm with the sound outside. Then a new sound joined: footsteps. Slow, heavy, wet, coming from the direction of the hill. Io froze. "Someone's coming." Nene stood shakily, her hands trembling as she reached for her charm bag. "Not someone," she said. "Something." The door rattled. Io lifted his spear, eyes wide. The drums stopped. Silence. Then a single knock on the door. Thump. Nene whispered, "Don't open it." Io's voice was barely a breath. "What if it's—" Thump. The second knock made the floor tremble. Nene clutched his arm. "It knows your name now," she said, "and it will not stop until it finishes its song." The third knock came louder. Thump. The door creaked open by itself. Wind swept through the hut, carrying the smell of damp earth and blood. Io stepped back, spear shaking in his hands. In the doorway stood a tall, shadowed figure, its skin the color of mud, its eyes burning faint red. Around its neck hung broken beads and a strip of torn leather, the same charm that had fallen from Io's wrist. It opened its mouth, and the sound that came out was not a voice, but the rhythm of the drums. Thump, thump, thump. Nene fell to her knees. "Ancestor, forgive him," she whispered. The figure raised a long, thin hand and pointed at Io. The hut went dark. The night after the drum appeared was the longest in the history of Nkara. No one slept. The air was thick with fear. Every shadow seemed alive. Io sat by the cold ashes of the fire, his eyes fixed on the door that had swung open by itself. The figure was gone, vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving behind muddy footprints that glowed faintly in the dark. Nene rocked slowly on her mat, whispering prayers under her breath. The smell of wet soil still filled the hut. When the first rooster crowed, the drums stopped. The silence that followed was worse than the noise. It was as if the earth was holding its breath. Io turned to his grandmother. "What was that thing, Nene?" She didn't look up. "You wouldn't believe me even if I told you." "Tell me anyway." Nene sighed. "Long before Nkara was built, there was another village here. It was called Amoko. They had a sacred drum used only for calling rain and healing the sick. But one day, a greedy chief used it for war. He beat it under a blood moon, asking the spirits to destroy his enemies. The spirits came, but they did not leave." Io's eyes widened, and the drum was buried under the hill. The ancestors sealed it with sacrifice so no one would ever wake it again. "You have undone their work, Io." He rubbed his face with shaking hands. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." Nene's voice was cold. "Ignorance doesn't stop spirits, child. It feeds them." Outside, people began to gather, whispering in fear. The entire village had heard the drums in their sleep. Some said they saw shadows moving near the river. Others claimed the ground pulsed like breathing flesh. Chief Akoro called for a meeting. The elders sat in a circle beneath the great baobab tree, their faces grim. Io stood before them, head bowed. "You touched the sacred drum," the chief said slowly. "Do you understand what you've done?" Io nodded, silent. The chief turned to Nene. "He must return it tonight." Nene's lips trembled. "If he goes back, it might not let him leave." Akoro's eyes hardened. "If he doesn't, none of us will leave. The hill will claim Nkara." Io looked up. "Then I'll go." The crowd gasped. Nene reached for his arm, but he stepped back. "I caused this. I'll fix it." The chief nodded once. "Before sunset, the healer will prepare you. Take nothing metal. Spirits fear no iron, but they hate honesty. Go as you are, with your heart clean." That evening, as the sun dipped low and the sky burned orange, Io stood at the edge of the village. The healer, an old man named Buru, painted his chest with white chalk and hung cowrie shells around his neck. "Do not look behind you," Buru warned. "And if the drum calls your name, pretend you cannot hear." Io swallowed hard. "What if it follows me again?" Buru's eyes were dark as the night. "It will, but remember this: spirits feed on fear, show none." He handed Io a small calabash of water. "Pour this on the drum. It is blessed from the first morning rain. Then leave without a word." Io nodded. The path to the hill waited before him, a ribbon of darkness curling between tall trees. He began to walk. The forest was different now. The air hummed, thick with unseen eyes. Fireflies floated near the ground, their glow flickering in rhythm, thump, thump, thump. Each step Io took seemed to echo like a heartbeat. When he reached the hill, the mist was already forming. It twisted around his legs like fingers. The ground beneath his feet pulsed faintly. He knelt where he had dug before. The hole was gone, replaced by damp earth. The drum had buried itself again. Io uncorked the calabash and poured the water slowly. The ground hissed, steam rising as if the earth were alive. Then the drum started. Not faint this time. Loud, angry, the hill trembled, trees bent, the air turned cold. From the mist rose shapes, tall, thin figures with hollow eyes and mouths full of soil. Their bodies were covered in ash and old blood. They moved slowly, swaying with the rhythm. Io froze, his heart pounding. One of them spoke, its voice echoing like thunder in a cave. "Who wakes the sons of Amoko?" Io forced himself to speak. "I meant no harm, I touched what was not mine. I've come to return it." The spirit tilted its head. The other figures circled him. Their movements matched the beat of the drums. "You touched the heart of the earth," the spirit said. "Now it beats for you." Io dropped to his knees. "Please, I didn't know." The spirit raised its hand. The drumming stopped. Silence swallowed the night. "Return it then," it whispered. "But blood must seal what hands unsealed." Before Io could ask what it meant, the ground beneath him cracked open. A deep red light poured out and the drum rose, glowing, trembling. It hovered before him, the faces carved on it twisting and crying. He felt his chest tighten, as if invisible hands were squeezing his heart. From the forest far away, he heard Nene's voice shouting his name. "Io, don't answer, don't look back." But the voice was too close, too desperate. He turned. Behind him stood Nene, or something wearing her face. Its eyes were hollow. Its smile was wrong. "You can't leave me, child," it said softly. "Come home." Io stumbled backward, shaking. "You're not her." The false Nene tilted its head. "You woke us, Io. You belong to us now." The drum began to beat again, faster, louder, until his heart matched its rhythm. He fell to his knees, clutching his chest. His breath came in gasps. "Stop," he choked. The spirit's voice surrounded him. "When the drum of the dead beats inside the living, the earth will never sleep." Io screamed as the light swallowed him. In the village, Nene woke from her trance. The drums had stopped. Outside, the sky was pale, the sun just rising. But the ground near the hill was black and cracked, like it had burned from within. A single drum lay on the path to Nkara, small, dark, and still dripping water. Nene fell to her knees, tears cutting lines through the chalk on her face. She whispered, "Forgive him, ancestors." Then she looked closer. Carved into the drum's side was a new face, Io's. And if you listened closely, just before dawn, you could still hear it beating. Thump, thump, thump. The morning after Io vanished, the village of Nkara awoke to a silence that felt heavier than morning. No birds, no children's laughter. Even the river that ran past the fields flowed slower, as if listening. The elders gathered again beneath the baobab tree. The sacred fire was lit, its smoke curling into the gray sky. Chief Akoro's face was hard, but his hands trembled. "He didn't return," he said quietly. Nene sat apart from the others, her head covered with a black shawl. Her voice was low. "He returned, just not the way we hoped." The chief frowned. "What do you mean?" She pointed toward the path that led to the hill. The small drum lay there still, half buried in ash. "The heart of the hill has a new face," she said. No one spoke. The healer Buru stepped forward and bent down beside the drum. He brushed the soot away. The carved wood was slick and dark, still warm to the touch. He traced the new carving with his finger. A face young, familiar, eyes shut, lips parted as if mid-scream. He stood up slowly. Io has been taken. The chief's jaw tightened. Then we must seal it again, before the next moon rises. But Nene shook her head. It won't be that easy. Once the drum beats for the living, it won't stop until it sings. Sings. Her eyes glistened with grief. Yes, the song of the dead. It calls to those who carry guilt. When the song finishes, the hill opens. The elders looked around, uneasy. Buru crossed his arms. Then we must find whose guilt the spirit will claim next. The chief turned to him. How? Buru looked toward the forest where shadows still clung even under daylight. We wait, and we listen. Pause, nightfall. The sound of distant drumming fades in. That night, Nkara didn't sleep. The drums began again, but this time they weren't coming from the hill. They were coming from within the village. Vain at first, then louder. Thump, thumpy, thump. Children cried, doors slammed. One by one, oil lamps flickered out. Nene sat by her fire, whispering prayers. The smoke curled into faces she almost recognized, the old ancestors, the ones from stories told to her when she was young. She heard the door creak open. Who's there? She called, voice trembling. A whisper came from outside. Grandmother. She froze, her heart twisted painfully. It was Io's voice. Child, she whispered. Come outside. Nene shook her head, clutching her charm. No, spirits don't enter unless you invite them. The voice softened. It's me, Nene, please, the night is cold. Her tears fell silently. You're gone, Io. The ancestors took you. The voice grew closer. They didn't take me. They left me in the dark. Wind gust, fire crackles. Then came another sound, slow footsteps circling her hut, the same rhythm as the drums. Step, step, thump. Her lamp flickered. Shadows danced on the walls. Let me in, grandmother, the voice said. You told me never to sleep dirty, but I can't wash this off. The smell hit her then, wet soil and blood. She closed her eyes. Go back to the hill. The footsteps stopped. The drums fell silent. And then, a whisper so soft she almost didn't hear it. You woke it, not me. Nene's eyes flew open. What? But the voice was gone. Only the sound of dripping water remained, drip, 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 even though there was no rain. She turned toward the wall and saw a thin red line snaking down from the roof. Blood. Pause, morning returns, roosters, uneasy silence. By sunrise, the story had spread. 3 huts were empty. A hunter, a potmaker, and the chief's wife, gone without a trace. In each of their homes, the same thing was found. A wet handprint on the wall, shaped like mud but warm to the touch. Buru gathered the villagers again. The song has begun, he said. It is choosing. Choosing what? A woman cried. Those who carry guilt, Nene answered. Those whose hearts echo with secrets. The crowd murmured. Eyes turned to one another, suspicious, afraid. Chief Akoro slammed his staff into the ground. No more fear. We will burn the hill if we must. Buru shook his head. Fire cannot kill what was born in shadow. Night again, drums closer now. That night, Nene dreamed. She was standing in the middle of the hill, surrounded by fog. The drum floated before her, glowing faintly. The carved faces on its side were moving, mouths opening and closing, whispering her name. She stepped closer. Io, she said softly. The face that was his opened its eyes. Why did you tell me not to fear the dark, if you knew what was in it? She fell to her knees, sobbing. Forgive me, my child. I thought the charms would protect you. The drum pulsed once. Io's carved lips moved again. It was never the drum, Nene. It was the one who buried it. Before she could ask what he meant, the ground split open. Hands reached out, pulling her down into the earth. She screamed. and woke up gasping, covered in sweat. The fire was out, the door stood open, and on her mat beside her hand lay something small. A bead, black, round, cold, just like the ones she used to seal the hill years ago. Her heart froze, because only 3 people had known where those beads were buried. Her, Buru, and Chief Akoro. Distant drums rising. The truth was beginning to stir. The hill was not haunting them for curiosity. It was hunting them for betrayal. Morning came dull and heavy. Nene's hut still smelled of ashes and blood. She held the black bead in her palm and whispered, "Why now, spirits? Why after so many years?" She knew the answer. Because lies rot, even in silence. And the earth remembers everything buried inside it. Scene 1, the confession. Under the baobab, the elders gathered again. The chief's staff no longer shone. Its carving had cracked overnight. Buru stood apart, watching Nene approach with the bead in her hand. She spoke first. "This is the mark of the first sealing, the day Amoko was silenced. You, Chief Akoro, you were there with me." Gasps, murmurs. Akoro's eyes darkened. "That was long before your grandson was born." "Yes," she said, voice trembling, "but you didn't tell the people the truth. We didn't seal the drum with blood of beasts. We sealed it with the blood of men. Your brother, my son. Ayo's father." The wind shuddered through the branches. Buru closed his eyes. Then Ayo's death was the debt returning. Akoro's voice rose. "I did what was needed to protect Nkara." Nene stepped closer. "No, Chief, you did it to protect your throne." Pause, distant thunder. The ground shook, a deep groan rolling beneath their feet. The hill was listening. Scene 2, the march to the hill. By sunset, the sky was copper red. Every villager stood outside their huts, staring toward the forest. The drums had started again, louder than ever, a storm of sound. Leaves quivered, the river swelled, smoke drifted upward from the hilltop. Buru tied charms around his wrists. "If the hill wants truth," he said, "let us bring it ourselves." Nene and the chief walked behind him, carrying the cursed drum between them. Each beat they heard now came from inside the wood, not from hands. The faces carved on its surface moved with every step. Soft chant begins. "Amoko, Amoko," the heart still beats. When they reached the clearing, the air bent hot and cold at once. The hill pulsed with light from its cracks. Nene spoke to the wind. "Ancestors, take back what was stolen, spare the innocent." The ground answered with a single thunderous thump. A fissure tore open, spilling red mist. Scene 3, the keeper revealed. From the smoke emerged a figure, tall, thin, half shadow, half bone. Its eyes were burning holes of amber light. The voice was many voices together. "We remember you, Akoro. You took our song and caged it. Now you will sing it for us." The chief fell to his knees. "Forgive me, I was young." The spirit raised its hand. Chains of earth coiled around him, dragging him toward the crack. His screams were swallowed by the soil. Buru shouted prayers, throwing cowrie shells into the fissure. The air sizzled. Then the spirit turned to Nene. "You carried silence for 30 years, it said. Your tears fed the hill, your blood will close it." Nene stood tall, then let it close. She pressed her palm to the drum. The carvings glowed, her skin burned. Ayo's face opened its eyes one last time. "Grandmother," it whispered, "rest now." She smiled through tears. "Sleep, my child." The drum cracked in two. Light burst from the hilltop, white, blinding, silent. Long pause, wind fades, crickets return. Scene 4, aftermath. Dawn over Nkara. The hill lay quiet for the first time in generations. No drums, no mist, only birds returning to the trees. Villagers climbed the slope and found the chief's staff half buried in ash. Next to it, a small drum, broken cleanly down the middle. Between the pieces lay Nene's shawl, folded neatly. Buru lifted it and whispered, "The keeper has gone home." He turned to the people. "The curse is ended, but remember, every silence carries a song beneath it. When you lie, the earth listens. When you forget, it remembers." They nodded, fearful and grateful all at once. Soft final beat whined through grass. That night, the children of Nkara slept peacefully. But some elders claimed that if you walked near the hill at dawn and placed your ear to the soil, you could still hear a faint rhythm beneath the ground. Not angry, not hungry. Just the steady heartbeat of a grandmother watching over her people. Thump, thump, thump.